all, Stacy the Blackfeather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked Tarot and Oracle Reviews done Stacy style. And today for this segment, we are doing another blind deck date. And I'm super pumped to check this out. I haven't done a whole lot with my animal decks, and I thought I'd throw one into the mix and see if we could find an interesting pairing. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, today we are going to be exploring the Blood Moon Tarot by Sam Guai and the Secret Language of Animals Oracle cards. And this is by Chip Richards. I've had this deck forever, and this is brand new. So that's another reason why I was kind of curious to see how this would sort of play out. So let's check out these two decks and get some, I want to say, some first impressions on kind of whether, throwing them all around, whether or not they're going to have, chemistry at first, or is this something that they're going to, have to kind of work at? Is there maybe no hope? Ooh, okay. So already on first glance, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. So we've got kind of a brownish reddish color here with some muted gold. And we have in the Oracle deck, we have the muted gold colors as the background. And then we see this beautiful, beautiful lion in the center of it. So they look a little bit different. This one is very busy. This one, I want to say, has some busyness in the background and then one central focus. So they're different in that regard, but man, oh man, do they ever have a wonderful synergy to them already from a color perspective. I am noticing that there is a circular shape here in the center of this card. This is reversible, and it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, not much. Just a little bit of a sheen. This is definitely a shinier finish, but not overly, not too shiny. And that circular energy matches the circular energy here. We're also seeing some viney things coming out. Again, there's a lot of dragon energy here. So dragon fire and smoke from the dragon. And here we have a lot of curly cues in the image on the back of the Oracle deck. So I think that's really fascinating. Again, dragons here, as well as a woman that is being represented, a goddess energy. And then we've got some cranes that are being depicted, some snakes. So there is an animal energy. There's animal mojo here. And we only have a singular animal here, sort of the pride, the king of the jungle, right? But there is definitely a lot of synergy here. So, ooh, I'm excited. Okay, so let's just kind of take a peek. And sorry, I'll fix that lighting. No, we're going to need that lighting. So, okay. So let's just kind of take a peek at the images and see what we've got on the inside. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing is that the Oracle deck is bordered. Again, this is an older deck. I've had this for a really long time. So it is in, I want to say, more of an older, traditional or conservative style of Oracle deck. And we have a lot of colors here, which I think is really interesting. Bright, bold colors, lots of floral in the background. Here we have the orange-bellied parrot, radiance, expression, communication, and acceleration. Here with the Six of Dreams, which dreams in this deck is, I always get it mixed up. Let me just double check it. I always forget if it's cups or swords. So just give me a moment to figure that out. Swords, yes. Okay. So dreams is swords. And we're seeing a lot of this sort of blue pallor, kind of a midnight energy or evening energy, or we're seeing space. Space energy. And, Six of Swords typically is moving on to calmer shores. Somebody who is, picking you up and taking you where you need to go so you don't have to work so hard. We've got some hands here. We've got a crying figure being taken care of, being swept up and being taken care of. So there isn't a lot of synergy in the imagery, but I will say that that Six of Dreams, moving on to calmer shores, support and grace. We have this orange-bellied parrot, radiance, expression, communication, and acceleration. I feel like the bird is watching the figure, and there it almost feels like there's a look of compassion here, that when you move on to those calmer shores, I will be here to radiate you, right, to bathe you in light, to create a safe space for expression. I will communicate with you, or I will communicate on your behalf when you are unable to communicate for yourself. And I accelerate your safety, I accelerate your growth. So there is some, I want to say, some basic synergy in the message, but not so far in the imagery. Let's take a look at another one here. Ace of Skins. Skins is wands in this deck, and here we have the salmon. Faith, determination, independence, and change. So what I'm noticing right off the hop is the snake is curled up, but the mouth is coming up and coming forward in exactly the same way as the salmon, almost as though like this one is sort of jumping out of the earth, this one is jumping out of the water. I also find it really interesting that we have fire and water together. Salmon, that elemental energy that's coming up. I always love a fire and water combo. A lot of people say, well, why? It's the opposite. Well, I want to say they balance one another out. They can be a really synergistic pairing. Water is going to tame the fire from burning itself out, and fire is going to heat the water, so the water doesn't always feel so cold, so the water can feel itself, right, can feel into things. And that's what the realm of water is. It's the feeling, the emotional space, the psychic energy. And the wands is that fire energy, is passion. It's the soul space, so the soul joining up with the psychic. So I'm loving that there is some harmony in the imagery, even if the colors are a little bit off. Let's look at another version here. Five of Songs. So Songs is cups in this deck. And here we have giant panda, innocence, gentleness, harmony, and balance. So when we have Five of Cups, obviously we're seeing that she's very sad that her lute or her guitar has broken. It has snapped. There's grief, there's loss, there's sadness in here. It's in a purple hue, which indicates that intuitive space, right? Understanding the intuition. The pink in here is also about self-love and self-care and unconditional love. Here we have the panda. We've got more of the lower chakras versus the upper chakras here being represented. The reds, the oranges, the yellows. But it is saying innocence, gentleness, harmony, and balance. So when we are in a grief period, when we are finding ourselves at a loss or grieving a loss, what we really need is gentleness. What we need is that approach of innocence. I don't know if you've ever had this experience before where you've lost someone and you're feeling it, and a younger person, a child, comes up and says, why are you crying? Or, can I make you laugh? Or they hand you their toy because they want to lift your spirits. They don't like that you're feeling sad and they want to make it better. I feel that that's a beautiful energy here with the giant panda. And also noticing that the mother panda is looking, once again, facing this incident, facing this situation that the Five of Songs is finding itself in, and providing that level of gentleness and innocence. Harmony will be restored. You have a broken instrument right now, so you're not going to be able to harmonize, but soon you will again. So I feel like it provides a level of hope. Let's do one more, and then we'll get into our questions and get the messages that these two decks want to express to themselves, to each other, and to us. Eight of Honey, Eight of Pentacles. This is a working deck, right? Working energy. We've got these beautiful greens that are coming through. So lots of growth, lots of abundance. We've got bees that are showing up here. We've got a beautiful a yellow flower, a field flower or a daisy indicating that growth is happening, springtime energy, that you're making use of the resources that you have, and that there is a mastery to what is transpiring. We've got a little yellow in her outfit, in her top and in her headband, and she's wearing some jewelry, some earrings here that also have that yellow. And here we have, and I love this, this is the first one that I feel has real kind of synergy with it. The outer border is a hint of green, a shade of green, and it's the same shade as what is being shown here in this card. And that yellow is also reflected in this beautiful lion, power, loyalty, leadership, and family. So I feel like what this is saying is whoever you are, however you fit into my life and my world, you are family. And I will be loyal to you. It's interesting. She's not looking dead ahead. She's actually kind of looking down at the bees. And she's sitting a little bit off to the side, but she's the main character and the main focus. The lion takes up all the space, right? Looking directly at you, but very sincere in expressing what he has to offer, what he's bringing to the table in essence. So I think that's really, really cool. I love that. Okay, so what do these two, I want to say, sorry, what unique chemistry emerges when these two cards and these two decks blend? So this is that unique chemistry. This is that spark. Oh, we've got one that popped out, 8 of Dreams. Interesting. So we know that Dreams is swords. So this is the 8 of Swords, which is typically a card of entrapment, feeling blocked or trapped in your own mind, your own thoughts. But let's see what comes up as a result here. Oh, interesting. Okay, so again, color-wise, and for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that when I have a really great pairing, for me, it's not necessarily about the visual as much as it's about the message, that is coming up from this. So 8 of Dreams, that liberation on the other side of feeling entrapped. And what she's doing, she's fighting the monster. She's fighting the dragon. She's trying to keep the dragon's teeth from chomping down on her neck. And she's fighting, but she's also tired. She's feeling a little bit like, do I have what it takes to push myself through all of this? And here we have the red squirrel, resourcefulness, vigilance, preparation, and busyness. So color-wise, we're dealing with two different things. Again, we're dealing with nighttime energy versus red squirrel. It lives during the day. So, a night person versus a morning person is kind of how I would put that. But what I love about this is that the squirrel is looking away from what's going on here, because the squirrel is really tapped into its resourcefulness. It's tapped into its, I want to say, its intuition and its energy, and it's looking for a solution. The red squirrel is solution-based, solution-focused. Also in the physical, right? We have the reds, the oranges, the yellows, those lower chakra energies. Here we're dealing with the blues, the purples, everything that is in the realm of the head, the realm of the mind, that mental energy. I say this is monkey mind stuff. Feeling entrapped by your own messages, your own memories, your own dialogue can really keep you stuck and frozen. Red squirrel, runs around and doesn't get too caught in the head space, is very focused in the physical. And so I feel the unique chemistry between the two of them is their approach to life is very different, but it can be very simpatico. It can be very complementary to one another. This guy is going to remind this one how to get out of their head and, be resourceful, to step into the light, to be able to see the light of truth, and to understand here's the practical way, the solutions focused way of getting out of this situation. So that's really interesting. Also that 8 is that mastery energy. And so mastering of the mind, mastering of that mental energy. Oh, I'm going to put these two together. Sorry. Forgetting that. All right, let's go to our next question here. The clash. Where might these two decks' personalities challenge each other or cause tension? The moon. Oh yeah, well, Blood Moon Tarot, the moon can be moody. The moon can be very secretive. The moon has a lot of information, but things are not always what they seem. I want to say, can you really trust the moon energy? Trust and verify. And here we have koala, calm, perspective, imagination, and ease. Oh, this is interesting. So, where they're going to clash, I feel actually like they can come together, but the koala is going to remain calm, is not going to get too worked up. I feel like this deck may be a little more dramatic in nature, dramatic in its approach, dramatic in how it expresses itself and lets you know some of the issues that it's dealing with. And the koala spirit, this deck, is basically going to be like, all right, you do you. I'm going to just be chill about it. And let's use our imagination to solve the problem. The moon can be, again, things are not always what they seem, but the moon also sometimes likes to kind of play a little bit of head games or give you something extra to think about, almost like a puzzle. Koala doesn't do that at all. Koala says, okay, well, you're presenting that as an option to me. Let's take a look at that from a different perspective. Let's see how we can make that work for us. I feel like the koala energy, the oracle deck here, again, is going to be solutions focused, is always going to kind of be in that glass half full or full and overflowing energy. Whereas the moon, the blood moon tarot, I feel is trying to get a reaction out of you, trying to get you to feel something, feel into the depths of a situation or a circumstance. And not to say that that's necessarily bad, but it's going to be definitely much more dramatic than the way that the oracle deck is going to present itself. So I definitely feel that they may have some issues in that regard, because if you're working with this deck to get information or working with this combination, this one is going to make you work for it a little bit. Whereas this one says, no, we don't need to do all of that. Like, why are we making them jump through hoops? Let's just be solutions focused. So that's really interesting. Also, that 44. 44 is like foundational, solid, stability. And that's quite frankly what the moon needs, because the moon is water, right? It's ruled by emotions, or it is the ruler of our emotions, is a better way to put that. Hidden layers. What unexpected truth does one deck bring out in the other? This will be really interesting. I feel like this is a kind of an interesting pairing. I'm not mad at it. Let's put it that way. Okay, so here we have the Six of Honey, Six of Pentacles, and the Blue Whale. Unity, resonance, magnificence, and mastery. So Six of Honey is the reinvestment, right? The reinvestment into something, reciprocity, generosity, knowing when to give and when to take, knowing when to give and when to receive. Blue Whale is about unity, resonance, magnificence, and mastery. So I feel like when the Six of Honey is making recommendations around reciprocity or a lack of it, the Blue Whale is going to help with resonance around that. Does that resonate with me? Is that the kind of information? So I'm just going to show you the card here without that extra light. The Blue Whale wants to help this Six of Honey to understand exactly what's being asked of it, and to understand exactly why this particular guidance is coming through at this time around this particular issue. Blue Whale is going to help with resonance. And if there isn't a sense of resonance, then the Blue Whale is going to say, swim away. It's not the thing that you're looking for, right? These aren't the droids you're looking for. Mastery. I've said that a couple of times in these readings here. And I feel that this is coming through as well, because the hidden layers of these two decks really is about helping us to get to our resonance and our mastery. If this deck does take us into the depths of our soul and take us into the subconscious, this deck is going to help us to shed light on what that is, so that we don't get lost in the subconscious, that instead we are able to get the information and move forward on our path of mastery. So that feels really, really cool. Oh my goodness, I love that. There is a little bit of synergy in the colors, only slightly. The border is kind of that blue greenish color, and we've got, you know, the green here. But otherwise, I feel like they hold their own. You know, they're two distinctive energies there. Okay, and this is our future date potential. If these two decks kept working together, what kind of guidance will they be co-creating? Ooh, okay, that's the one. Let's see, I'm curious to see how this one is going to be. Because I do feel that we have moved past our first drink. I feel that we are on to appetizers. So let's see if there is going to be maybe dinner. Ooh, yes, there's a lot of harmony, a lot of synergy with this one. Okay, so Queen of Honey. So this deck, even though it's trying to bring light and awareness to the subconscious, it is doing that so that you can manifest your truest heart's desires. And I feel that that is, in essence, what this deck really is all about and wants to do. And this elephant, you know, elephants have long memory. Elephants are very community oriented. They care about their family. I like to say they're gentle giants, but don't piss them off. So when we talk about the future date potential, I'm definitely feeling that there is a harmony here, that this deck is allowed to be itself and is completely accepted by the oracle deck, because the oracle deck says, okay, let's move forward together. Let's take that path forward. And you know, we're going to do some inner child work. We're going to focus on the subconscious. We're also going to focus on the innocence of what is here and what is to come. And this elephant message here: honor, empathy, responsibility, and cooperation. So I definitely feel that there is a future if these two decks continue to work together. I definitely feel that we are going to be staying for dinner, and that there are going to be future dates on the other side of this, especially because that Queen of Honey energy is about abundance and sharing and teaching other people. Yes, I've got things for you that I can share with you, and I can also teach you how to get these things for yourself. There's no question there. And when we talk about that elephant energy, elephant is going to honor what you choose. It has the empathy. It is going to be responsible to you, and it's going to cooperate with everything that you're dreaming of. Also, look at all the greens. So much green energy, so much synergy in these two cards. So while there isn't always visual synergy with this deck combo, I feel that the messages really do support one another, and I love it. Wow. Okay, guys. So that is our blind deck date for this segment of Divinely Decked. Like, subscribe, click the bell, share, check the join button to become a fabulous phoenix. Let's keep the conversation going. You know the drill. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this particular combination. This one was really cool. I kind of had a feeling. I knew that it might not be, you know, visually all that, you know, we sometimes crave it to be, but I had a good feeling about this pairing, and I'm not disappointed. So until we see you for another episode of Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life, sending you so much love, so much support. We'll see you on the flip side, and transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture Divining the VIP Life.